Hypothetically, if you wanted to know how deadly, say, a rapidly spreading novel viral infection is, how would you figure that out? You would probably want to know how many people are infected, how quickly the infection spreads, how many people it kills in relation to its spread, and how quickly fatality could occur within range of the infection. You probably wouldn't choose to measure how many people feel like they've seen a sick person or poll people on how deadly they think it is, because that metric is simply improper for understanding the issue at hand. And people often misunderstand that our ability to quantify and judge the world around us comes down to the metrics we choose to explore and similarly which ones we choose to ignore. For example, somebody trying to argue that ICE isn't that bad would probably say, oh, they've only killed a handful of Americans compared to how many immigrating people they've managed to successfully kick out. Which leads to an understanding that this person believes that deporting random people is an appropriate way to handle immigration management. But to somebody seeing the issue differently, may look at it and say, thousands of non-offending immigrating people are being deported, while also innocent immigrating people are being killed, while also innocent Americans are being killed by an apparatus of the state. These people have a different metric that includes more points that could lead to problematic concerns, and thus see a bigger problem. It's like the difference between having a 16-year-old diagnose a problematic car versus an experienced mechanic. And this kind of stuff is all over the place, creating these scenarios where people are wasting time and breath fighting in unwinnable arguments. People are constantly spamming my comments with screeds about how capitalism is the greatest system ever because it makes more people rich and socialism leads to starvation. This metric leaves out how many people are killed, enslaved, and starved under capitalism, and it neglects that somebody interested in socialism might be less interested in being rich than they are interested in everyone having access to a comfortable life. You see what I'm getting at here? If you're arguing a different metric, then there is never going to be a point where you will see eye to eye with someone who disagrees with you. And that's how you end up with studies like this one, where this article is trying to make the point that the right is just so much more open and accepting because they have more diversity of thought. But just more ways to think about something doesn't mean that they are good ways. You could have just one form of social liberalism and 600 forms of Nazi ideology. You could have a million sects of Christianity compared to a group of people who are unified and not caring about religion. It's all about what metric you are measuring and how well it tells your story. And the solution here is one thing. Agree on a metric beforehand before you start arguing something. That is, before you try and take someone down or defeat someone's argument or make a point, first ask yourself, are we all seeing the same metric in this scenario? If I'm going to tell someone they're evil for supporting ICE, do they measure their support for ICE on the same things? Next, you ask yourself, will this person be able to understand or see the metric I am proposing? Can I convince this person to understand that when I'm saying this thing is good or bad, can I get them to see that I am specifically talking about this in a particular way? Lastly, you have to communicate to the metric that you want to convince. If you're trying to communicate a new metric, try and convince them of the new metric, but understand it's different from the metric that they were measuring from. If you're trying to communicate on their metric, show them how the metric is wrong or right or anything in between, and use that as a starting point for your conversation. Because if you ever want to move past arguing with weirdos on the internet, what you're going to need to learn is that the real metric is the friends you make along the way.